Dear Inyo Asano, you made me ugly cry with this manga. I've never read something that has touched me to this level, that has made me feel as if I'm rooting for a bunch of people I know in person. Pun Pun is a character who will have a place in my heart until the day I die. I read this manga a year ago, but till today it has a firm grasp on me. I still wonder how could somebody seamlessly translate the complexity of human emotions and the utter insanity of life into words and pictures. I accidentally ended up reading the best manga to ever exist. Through Osami Pun Pun, millions were left to shatters and were made to feel things that cannot be described in words. Thank you for that. Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lakshmi Rajiv and I hope all of you are doing well. Today we'll be reviewing Inyo Asano's manga titled Goodnight Pun Pun. To those of you who are not familiar, mangas are comics or graphic novels originating from Japan. I always had a very ignorant idea that mangas were for kids. And man was I wrong, so badly wrong. Mangas are written for all age categories and have so many genres. There are definitely mangas that are not meant for kids and are brutally disturbing and mind-boggling. Goodnight Pun Pun is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Inyo Asano. So, about 1.5 years ago, I was in search for manga to try out. I read one and I enjoyed it quite a bit, but it wasn't that great. As I was searching for a psychological thriller manga to read, I came across Goodnight Pun Pun. Yeah, what a title, right? When I saw this little guy in the cover page, and when I realized that he is going to be the protagonist of a psychological thriller manga, I was curious. It seemed like the type of weirdness that was right up my alley, and I was so unaware of what I was signing up for. This manga literally changed the way I perceive the world. It is not just me who is saying this. People who have read it will surely tell you the impact that this manga will leave and how deeply it can affect one's emotional stability. Everybody is afraid to recommend this manga for so many reasons, but at the same time, it's impossible not to talk about it. It's a story that may not appeal to everybody as well. So, enough warnings, I guess. Let's get started. Oyasami Pun Pun portrays a journey of a middle school boy, Pun Pun, growing into an adult over the volumes. By the end of the 14th volume, you have witnessed the circle of life, and Pun Pun ends up becoming a character who you will never forget. I know a lot of you will be wondering, why does it look that way? All the characters except Pun Pun and his family are human like. I used to ask the same question too. I'll answer those questions and we'll do an in depth analysis of this manga in another video. This is more of a spoiler free review. As middle schoolers, there's a certain ignorance with which we live, a kind of innocence that shields us from the dark world outside. But very soon, the world throws at us a bunch of things that we may not have been warned about, and soon we're struggling to understand. Why are we here? What is any of this supposed to mean? This is the central theme of Oyasami Pun Pun. Let me also add that eccentric, peculiar, bizarre, these are all words that are not enough to encapsulate how weird the story is. For example, that's Pun Pun's imagination of God. But at the core of it, beneath all of this, there exists realism, ruthless realism. Through Pun Pun's story, Inyo Asano tries to make his readers reflect on their own lives and the existential dread that some of us might face as we are living. I love when a story tackles this subject, but I've never seen any story tackle it the way this one does. Using symbolism, absurdism, metaphors, and beautiful, mesmerizing illustrations, it manages to show the absurdity of a human being's life. I love a character driven plot, and by now it's obvious how much I love Pun Pun. All of the characters in this story are grey, including Pun Pun. Half of them have no idea about what they're doing, but are trying to live and act in a way that they think is right, just like real human beings. Each character subtly represents how adversity molds a person. Some may become numb, emotionless, and depressed. Some may cope with it by rebelling against the world. Some may wander in their own imaginations. And some may blindly try to oppose their ideas on others for their own sense of security. Watch out for the characters of Seiki and Shimizu. They made me weep so much and broke my heart. Through each character, we learn empathy. We learn to look at people's choices, words, and behavior with kindness and consideration. Not everybody is privileged to understand everything. I am not privileged to understand or comprehend certain aspects of life. So, who am I to judge somebody? After all, life is a game of dice. You're not born a certain way or into a certain family because you deserve it. It's absolutely random. Thus, nobody honestly has a right to say what is right. If anybody has any right at all, it's the right to accept that you and I are different, and that's okay. Let's do what we can to get through this. Mental health is a central theme in the manga. If somebody were to ask, so what's depression like? Read the manga. No other work of fiction, as far as I've read, has been so close to representing depression. In today's world full of social media confessions, hyperproductivity, and the constant need to be perfect, having stable mental health is pretty hard. This is portrayed splendidly in the story. In one instance, Pun Pun says, I have no idea what to do with myself, and while I wait for my epiphany, I feel the toxins collecting in my body. There are a few flaws in this story. There is a bit of sexism, sometimes it becomes so haywire and confusing and makes you want to skip through certain pages. But the brilliance of the manga helps you look past it. The last and the most important reason why I love this manga so much. It's a manga for dreamers. The artists are those people who tend to want to follow an unconventional path, not just professionally, but in any sphere of life, will absolutely love it. The illustrations are enthralling and almost hypnotic at times. You need to be able to let your imagination loose and maybe be the type to get caught daydreaming to be able to endure this manga. I think East Asian literature loves to examine the topic of feeling like an alien in your own world. But let's carry on with the hope that you will find your people and you will find your own way. It discusses other themes like family, found family, friendship, capitalism, nihilism, coming of age, and so much more. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I would like to end this video with a line from the manga that impacted me a lot. When I was young, I was under the mistaken belief that given two choices, I should try to calm down and pick the correct one. But in real life, there are many times when both choices are equally right and wrong. To rush into either one might be one of the privileges of youth.